It is 12 noon, hour number 3 of Three Man Front. Appreciate everybody stopping by and seeing us. We're live in our parking lot at Cumulus Media, 244 Goodwin Crest Drive. So many folks have dropped off food for the Thanksgiving food bank that we are trying to put together. And, of course, Conrad Van Order, he has been doing every 15 minutes his turkey dance or whatever it is.
He's really got it down. He's done it enough now to where I think I could walk somebody through it.
Yeah. And if you've been watching on YouTube, you've probably seen over our shoulder the tables that we have set up of all the food that the Jocks listeners have given during this food drive. And it's really cool because now we've even got listeners, Mary and Don, Gringo. They're actually helping put the bags together for the individual families, which is really cool. And we appreciate Chubb Fathers for giving us some gift certificates that we've been giving away to listeners that's been coming by, giving us food. Also, like to thank Twin Peaks in Hoover. They have provided the free food and lunch.
Yeah,
so
thank
if
you for
come
that.
by, you can get some free food here. Milo's Sweet Tea and Milo's Lemonades, they have come by this morning. They brought some goodies and get some free drinks if you come by. And Friends of Rickwood just stopped by, gave us some food, and they also gave us some signed autographs of Dwyer Brown, who was John Kinsella in the movie Field of Dreams. He was at Rickwood a few weeks back doing a event, and so we get an opportunity. If you come by and you're a baseball fan and you give us some food, we're going to give that to you. That's our way of saying thank you, and Rickwood Field for them saying thank you for helping us out with this food drive for the Thanksgiving holidays. A lot of conversation, Landrum, about the college football playoff. I know so many of you have been chiming in on the Courtesy GMC text line at 205-834-9450. Bama falls from 4 to number 10.
Yes. The text line is open. Some of you commenting on Conrad's dance that you've been able to witness either here in person or there on YouTube on Jocks TV, or last night's college football playoff ranking reveal. And the first time we get to see Hunter Yurachek, and apparently not a whole lot of warm reviews for the Arkansas athletic director in the new chair who took over for one Mac Rhodes. 205-834-9450. This question coming in: what happens to Notre Dame if Bama beats A&M and BYU beats Texas Tech?
Say that one more time.
If Alabama beats A&M and BYU
in the SEC championship game,
right?
Okay.
And BYU beats Texas Tech. The question was, what happens to Notre Dame?
That's problematic for Notre Dame because if BYU wins, BYU would be ahead of Texas Tech, and they would get the automatic qualifier from the Big 12. Texas Tech, you would think, would not fall that far back, and they're so far in front of Notre Dame, I would think that Texas Tech would get the nod over Notre Dame, don't you? Based on that scenario?
I do, but we're talking about Notre Dame here.
That is true.
Michael saying Conrad's going to have his admirer from Alex City come down to get a dance. Is it Alex City, the admirer? Or, well, Faye's from Childersburg, right? But that's close, I guess, to Alex City.
Oh, that's where Faye's from?
Yeah, Childersburg.
Okay.
Well, that's what she said anyways. I've still not met Faye. Landrum, something I thought of when I was there seeing Conrad dance. We all miss it. Molly should have added a garter band or two so people could stick $1 bills when Conrad was dancing. That is brilliant.
I don't know why Molly didn't think of that.
Well, yesterday would have been the day there at Social Taco for him to have the garter bands.
Yeah.
For people to drop by. Let's see. Posey says, yeah, that's how Conrad breaks up with his girlfriends. Well, maybe back in the day. That's how he did it. I feel like Conrad probably had several methods of breaking up with girlfriends.
Like falling down a cave?
Yeah.
Didn't he break up that one
Like,
girl
wow,
because he broke down?
this date's going horribly. Well, this is going to hurt. Ah! Yeah. Or just
fracture in his
revealing,
leg.
like he has on the show, some of his hygiene habits or the lack thereof.
What was the latest thing he told us about? That was the lake, right? Flipping the coin. Remember that?
Oh, was that the
Drinking of the
the
water?
drinking of the water
Yeah.
that had been defecated in? Let's see. Someone adding that John Summerall was on staff with Derek Nix and Wesley McGriff when he was at Ole Miss. Who else is chiming in? A lot of Conrad dancing. Someone asking if DJ Durkin is turned down as being the head coach at Auburn, will he be happy to return as DC, or had he rather move on? That's a great question. I don't know. Again, I can tell you that his family is very happy in Auburn. They love Auburn, and but I don't know. That'd be something that only DJ Durkin could offer. They make him the highest paid coordinator in college football to stay there. Maybe so. But he will have options. He will not find it hard to find another gig. That there's a lot of coaches in the SEC, head coaches, that would like to have DJ Durkin running their offense or their defense. And one of them being Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
So keep that in your pocket as well. Someone asking if Texas A&M loses to Texas, will they still have a first round of the playoffs home game?
I say yes. Because they would not get a bye.
Right. Sorry, just trying to play all this out in the head. More of your text rolling in, and we'll continue to get to those. Now we're getting Lane Kiffin spotted.
Well, I saw what his interview said yesterday. He said that he had not been given an ultimatum. It is interesting because continue to talk to folks around the state of Mississippi, and they continue to tell me the same thing. Nothing has changed in regards to they need to know something before the Egg Bowl. You can use semantics all you want to, whether it's an ultimatum, whatever the case may be. But I think Ole Miss deserves the right to know what the heck their head football coach is thinking before the biggest game of the year.
So what if he tells them, look, I'm pretty sure I want to stay at Ole Miss, but I really haven't had time to think about it. I'm just concentrating on this Egg Bowl. I'm concentrating on winning a championship here in the SIP. Why are you asking me these questions? Golly, Keith, get off my back.
Well,
I'm just playing it from that side.
Well, it would take you about the same amount of time, Lane, to tell me what you want to do with your future than you talking to your ex-wife about her getting on a plane and your sister-in-law getting on a plane and going and scoping out Gainesville and Baton Rouge. How about that? Because I'm sure Lane Kiffin has not had one single conversation with his sister-in-law or his ex-wife about their trips, has he?
Well, no.
He has been looking at film the entire time that he has been waiting to take on Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl.
Well, what's so bizarre to me, it is kind of bizarre, that he and his athletic director, with all of this going on, are at hot yoga yesterday morning, according to Evie.
Yeah.
Doing their hot yoga together.
Mm-hmm. At 6 a.m. yesterday morning.
So at some point, are you having hey, by the way, yeah, you thought any more about your future? Or
it's like, no, not really.
How does that go? I don't know. Hot yoga, do they have a locker room?
I don't know. The next time that I'm at yoga will be my first.
If I ever do yoga, it's going to be the one with the baby goats.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Goat yoga. That's
baby
the way to
goats
go.
Or rage yoga.
All right, so we were talking about the college football playoff. And, John, I believe you told us that there's an interesting clip of Eli Drinkwitz. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, based on John's reaction there, let's take a listen. This was the SEC coaches teleconference just a couple minutes ago. This is what Eli Drinkwitz had to say about the college football playoff.
The fact that we are allowing human bias in a committee to decide who are the participants in a college football playoff. The game is played on the field. We have teams that played against each other, and we don't even count that. They both have the same record. They played against each other, and we don't count that as a factor. I mean, I don't know what to tell people other than human bias is, and it does not have to be. It's implicit. It's not on purpose, but it just is. I don't know that we're ever going to have anything other than this. And you know what? Maybe the reality of it is it's all just entertainment anyway. I mean, why in the world are we doing 6 weeks of projections on a playoff? It's just entertainment. So maybe we're the ones screwed up. Maybe we should just be enjoying the entertainment factor of it all instead of actually, thinking that they're trying to decide what the best teams are.
Eli Drinkwitz. Wow. Can't disagree anything he just said about the college football playoff because it is entertainment.
It is entertainment.
I mean, these Tuesday nights, since the inception of this thing, we've always had a great show on Wednesday. The entertainment value of what these people say in the college football playoff meetings.
How entertaining do you think it is for Missouri fans and his AD to know that he's talked to everybody except for them?
Well, he came to a press conference yesterday to a bunch of media.
I like Eli Drinkwitz, by the way.
He basically said there was a bunch of phooey, that he wasn't going anywhere. He loves Mizzou.
Well, of course.
All these conversations about him being up for a job, whatever. He's not interested.
I do believe that he would have to consider it wouldn't be an instant yes if it was Penn State. I've told you several reasons.
Yeah.
Not just him specifically, but that particular job. I mean, everybody wants to make it out like it's one of the greatest jobs in college football. I disagree.
Well, speaking of the Big Ten and Penn State, did you see where the Big Ten, they have hit pause on this big investment that the University of California Investment Fund, remember that they were going to give all this money and own 10% of the Big Ten Conference? They have put that on hold. It was a $2.4 billion private investment proposal, and it has hit another snag. And once again, it goes to the fact that Michigan and USC, they say no. That, we are not. Hey, thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Hey,
Rodarius?
Rodarius from Roto-Rooter. Thank you, man.
Hey, that's all right. You're doing – I'm sure they won't mind you dropping off some canned goods. Thank you so much.
How about that? That's
awesome.
What it's about, man.
Yep.
That's fantastic. It's great to meet him. Very cool. He's on his way to Tuscaloosa, and he stopped by and gave us some food. So
Rodarius, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you so much. Good to meet you.
He gave a roll tide as he was walking away.
Yeah.
You got to go Blazers. All right.
Yeah. How about that? That's
no
good stuff. All right. So I was telling you about the $2.4 million investment that the Big Ten has now put on hold.
Right.
So how about this as a kicker? Yahoo Sports is reporting that yesterday there was a meeting in Charlotte, North Carolina, where the Power Conference commissioners saw a presentation from the Big Ten. Are you ready? A 24-team college football playoff proposal. We're doing so well on the 12-team. We've got that locked down.
How many guarantees is the Big Ten going to want then?
Well, apparently,
just the whole conference?
Because now they don't get that $2.4 billion investment. They got to come up with more inventory for Fox and anybody else to try to make some money. So, yeah, 24-team college football playoff.
I told you back when it was brought up, Pat, let's get the 24. I'm all about the 24. If it takes out some of this. Don't you think it would be a little bit easier?
Yeah, I do.
Because once you get outside of 20, are you really splitting that many hairs?
Yeah. No, not really.
Let's do 24.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll talk to Trey Wallace from Outkick. We'll get his feelings.
We'll have 11 teams in it one year.
On the college football playoff rankings, and we will also talk to him about the ongoing situation. My goodness gracious, everything that is happening currently in the coaching carousel. So we'll talk to him coming up at the bottom of the hour. If you've got a dangerous tree leaning over your house or maybe branches blocking your view of your house, you need to call Golston Tree Service today, 205-337-4443. Golston's licensed pros. They'll handle everything from trimming and pruning to full tree removals, fast, safe, and affordable. Don't wait until the next storm causes damage. Call Golston Tree Service. Golston also offers 24-hour emergency tree service. So when it comes to your trees, don't risk it. Call Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4443. More three-man front. We are live in our parking lot getting some donations just a few moments ago. We're continuing to take those here in the parking lot, 244 Goodwin Crest Drive in Homewood. This is three-man front on Jocks. Oh, we know who's back in the control room now.
There he is.
Yeah, when you have Celine Dion playing, you know it's
Yeah.
Damian Mitchell.
The first lady of show business.
Damian Mitchell from the Damian Mitchell Show. You can hear that weekday mornings from 6 to 7 here on Jocks. Sometimes Conrad talks.
Is it the Connor guy that comes on? What's his name?
Conrad.
Conrad, yeah. Conrad.
All right, speaking of Conrad, if you're watching us on YouTube, what is this? Dance number what?
5 or 6.
Yeah, that's right. So he's
Well,
he's
2
done
of them
four-
didn't count.
He does 4 an hour, right?
I like how he claps to get ready.
Well, that's to get his. All right, so if you're watching on YouTube, this is dance number. Is this what is this? Like 9?
All right, here's the pilgrim dance.
All right, here we go.
He goes squatted position,
He gets
hands
ready.
are out. Jazz hands.
Whatever that is.
He does like a Oompa Loompa, like hands up move, stationary. Then he goes military press, shuffle left, military press, shuffle right, belly rub, Macarena, turkey flap, turkey flap, turkey flap with gobbles, audible gobbles, and then he goes worm to finish it off. And the worm has gotten better as he's continued to do this dance.
You know, I remember when he did his first dance, how everybody was gathered around and they were watching intently.
Now,
We've got about 15 people out here.
nobody looked
And,
up.
like, nobody's like, you know what, this freak, he just continues to do his thing. We're not even paying attention.
The best was the pretty dog that was over there. If you could have seen the dog watching Conrad.
That dog was like, what is going on? What are we
I
witnessing
had
here?
no idea what was going on.
That was a beautiful. Was that kind of a boxer mix? What was that?
Yeah, it looked like a boxer mix.
That was a beautiful dog.
Yeah, sweet dog.
Kalen DeBoer, he met with some members of the media this morning. He says that he did not watch the ESPN show revealing the latest college football playoff rankings, which had the Tide falling from 4 to number 10, but he did see them. It popped up on his ESPN app on his phone.
Attaboy.
This was a quote from DeBoer. Took a quick look at it, went back to work, didn't read into anything. End of quote.
Just handle your business.
That's right. He went on to say that I just know that we have a ton of quality wins. I know they really look strongly at the losses. Last week was a very good football team. I think we've played a lot of really good football. We've shown consistency and improvement throughout the year. A lot of improvement, end of quote.
That would be Alabama's luck, though, because I was like everybody else. I thought that was going to be a pretty good Florida State team after week 1.
Well,
But
Florida
for Florida-
State's sitting there at 5-5.
Yeah.
I mean, if Florida State beats NC State and then they got Florida,
And
wrap
those are
it
2
up.
winnable games.
Absolutely. Then all of a sudden, Florida State's
7
and 5. I mean, they're not going to be confused with a team that's
No,
in
but
the
it looks
top
better than
25.
5 and 7.
Sure. I mean, that's got to help a data point, right?
Yep.
I would think.
You've got an Oklahoma team that's going to hold their own. They should be in the college football playoff. So as long as you avoid that third loss. But the third loss, you're taking it. You're giving too much leeway to the committee and to Hunter Yurachek to come out and justify why you're not there. Because then he starts tacking on to lack of running game. Then he throws out, well, you lost to this team. Look at their overall records, and then you start throwing out any other metric that fits your narrative.
So we talk a lot about what the old BCS, what the BCS had. Well, if you take all the data points from the old BCS and you compare it to what the College Football Committee voted last night and debuted their rankings, it is eerily similar. Matter of fact, Landrum, I'm sitting there looking at it. The top 4 is exactly the same. Here's where the differences lie. According to the old BCS computers, Ole Miss would be 5. Texas Tech is currently 5. Oregon would be 6 in the BCS computers. Ole Miss is the 6th-ranked team in the CFP committee. Oklahoma is 8 in both the old BCS and the College Football Playoff rankings. Notre Dame is 9 in both the BCS and the College Football Playoff Committee. Bama is 10 in both the BCS and the College Football Playoff Committee. So, just like last year when it was exactly identical, when it was exactly identical what the BCS was and the final College Football Playoff rankings, it is going down that same road as it did last year.
When is it going to be revealed to us that they're using that as a cross-reference?
Don't you think somebody's up in their hotel room and they're like going, all right, let me look up the old BCS.
There's no way that they're not, Pat. They're human beings. If I was on the committee, I would look at it.
You would use that as a data point?
Well, I look at it when we come up with our polls. I go and I look at the poll that I'm about to submit for a top 25, and then I look at somebody else's poll that's been put out, and I compare and contrast and just make sure that I'm not nothing stands out where I'm off the mark. It doesn't mean I'm going to change my pick, but I'm going to use it to compare.
Well, it's just like everyone wants to make fun of the Associated Press of the coaches poll, but go back and take a look at what came out on Sunday from both of those polls, and look at what came out last night in the College Football Playoff Committee.
Yeah.
Dang near dead on. But we want to ding the polls. But the polls are as equal as what you saw last night in the College Football Playoff rankings.
There's no way that you're going to convince me that you show them this and go, oh gosh, wow, they have a comparison chart. Oh wow, we're identical. No, somebody's looking at that.
Yeah. There's no question about that. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Trey Wallace is going to join us. I want to remind everybody about APS. I was coming to work this morning, and I ran into two on the road, saw two APS trucks, which means they're out and about in Metro Birmingham. They're going to deal with foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, concrete repair. And if you're dealing with unsightly cracked concrete on your sidewalk, driveway, patio, or even your pool deck, if you're worried about it being a tripping or safety hazard, you need to call APS today. 205-951-9717. AlabamaProfessional.com is their website. The experts at APS, they're going to offer an affordable concrete repair solution you need to help protect the look of your concrete. The technicians there, they use the latest technology and techniques to lift, level, seal, and protect your concrete. 205-951-9717. That's AlabamaProfessional.com.
Zach in Huntsville texted in. He said if you look up Arkansas AD Hunter Yurichek's name on Google, if you type it in, under it says internet personality. It dang sure does.
That's great.
Well, you know, Wikipedia, they're usually ahead of things before they happen, and they change somebody's bio line. You think Google's ahead of it, and they know that he's not long for Arkansas?
Yeah. He's too worried about the college football playoff. He's not worried about those interviews of 8 potential coaching candidates for the job.
If he thinks last night was fun, just wait.
Oh, just wait.
Yeah, leave a 2-loss Alabama out of the college football playoff.
Let's see how those meetings in Destin's go with Greg Byrne.
And all the new people that start showing up in your neighborhood.
Now forget about Greg Byrne. What about Greg Sankey? Think he would be very happy about that?
No.
1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. When we come back, Outkicks Trey Wallace will join the program.
Ooh.
So much to get into with Trey. That is coming up next on Three Man Front. It is 12:31 here on Jocks. If you're watching us on YouTube,
Hello.
we do this every 15 minutes because you wanted it. You gave us money. We went and bought for underprivileged during the Thanksgiving holidays. And so Conrad Van Order now will do his
dance break with the Pilgrim.
Yep, in his Pilgrim outfit. Here he goes.
Squatting, now rising, jazz hands, Oompa Loompa pose, military press, back to the middle, Macarena, and then belly rub. And now we're going to get turkey flap with the wings, and then the gobble as he comes back to the center. Now he shuffles to the right, to the left, now in the push-up position, and we've got the worm to conclude the Pilgrim dance for the 9th time, and he just pulled something.
I was injured.
I think that was his belt buckle or something else that we cannot describe here on the air that hit the pavement in an awkward way.
All right. Thanks, Conrad.
Thanks, Conrad.
The SEC teleconference goes on every Wednesday, and our next guest just got off that teleconference, and is Trey Wallace from Outkick. Trey, we played a cut a little bit earlier in the show of Eli Drinkwitz going after the college football playoff committee, but instead of talking about CFP, which we'll get to in a couple minutes, I want to ask you about Lane Kiffin. Did he make any reference whatsoever about his future somewhere in the
Guys, I hope you guys are doing well, by the way. It got very contentious on that phone call, on that teleconference. I have been a part of many, many years of these, just as you guys have, and I have never heard a coach squirm as much as I just heard Lane Kiffin. And he was called to the table, boys. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I get that he hasn't answered some of these questions presented to him, but us national media members couldn't get on there quick enough to ask him certain questions that I don't think he could run away from. Now, the thing is, he didn't really answer anything, but you could tell that it was getting a little rough. Like, he was asked, does he have, whether Ole Miss has asked him for an answer regarding his future. And he said, I'm not going to stay on what I've done for 6 years and not talk about those situations. So, and then it got to a point where, he understands why we ask these questions, guys. But at the same time, when he's saying that, why would I not expect to coach against Mississippi State next week? Do you guys know something that I don't know? Am I going to be fired? This is what it was coming to. And I do want to say, he understands what we're doing. And I think he looked at it and saw a situation where, I can't answer this. I'm not going to answer. Like, guys, he was asked straight up what his family took away from their visit to Gainesville and Baton Rouge.
And his answer?
And he said, and I'm bringing it up exactly because I want to get the exact quote for you guys. He said, I'm not getting in on any speculation or stories that have to do with other jobs. He's not, dude. I'm just telling you guys, I thought this thing could go quiet for a couple of days, but after that call, it could be a scenario where all right, let's go to Oxford and see what happens. Like that went really bad. And again, he was presented an opportunity to say, I will be the Ole Miss coach in 2026, guys. Stop asking me the darn questions. And he didn't. He said, I'm not talking about other jobs. I'm not talking about speculation. What do you guys mean I might not coach against Mississippi State or in the playoffs? That's news to me. Stop, dude. Stop. You're on social media more than most media members around the country. Don't act like that's not a topic of discussion around that building. And even, he even said, I've spoken with Keith Carter twice today. Okay, cool. What were those conversations about? So I just, that was very, very uncomfortable, but it needed to be uncomfortable. Best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. So back to the family question. I thought that was an outstanding question. And yeah. I mean, that's not speculation. There is moving film of his family, his ex-wife, his sister-in-law, people of his immediate family making these trips. So either he says no comment, but that kind of answer just infuriates people even more.
Well, and here's the thing too, and I want to give credit to, there's a lot of us that couldn't get in on this call. I want to give credit to Wilson Alexander from the Advocate
Right.
for asking the question. And I just find this fascinating, guys, because you can't run from this anymore.
No.
You can't. You're not hiding anymore. When at the end of the SEC teleconference, Chuck Dunlap told him, well, hey, man, Lane was like, appreciate it, guys. Can't wait to join y'all next week. Then Chuck gets on there and says, oh, by the way, Lane, there is no teleconference next week. And he ends it with, oh. So he was, like, excited about it. Like, it's just we're getting to a point now. This has turned into a big old joke. And if I'm the folks at Ole Miss, man, you thought it was bad now? Have him hanging around after that Mississippi State game, and if Ole Miss were to somehow get a first-round bye, have to deal with this for a month. I'm just telling you, this is. I'm not talking about 19 days until the first on-campus game. I'm talking about they get a top 4 seed, they will not play till New Year's Day.
Wow.
So imagine a month of this. So this is getting a little bit too much. And according to the sources that I've spoken with, folks at Ole Miss, they're also laying that out there. The money folks, the folks that around the program, this is a massive topic of discussion within the Manning facility over there. And I respect Lane for getting on there. He could have said he had the flu or something like that. But coming off yesterday's little PR stunt with Pat McAfee, he really had some truth bombs thrown his way on that call.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because I brought it up in the first hour of the show. I mean, Pat McAfee is not going to be confused with Mike Wallace from 60 Minutes. I mean, he is not a journalist and did not ask the pointed questions that Wilson Alexander did today on the SEC teleconference. So let's cut through the BS, Trey. When it's all said and done, is he staying there, you think, or is he going to end up either at LSU or Gainesville?
Man, I think that he would love to stay at Ole Miss and coach through the playoffs. I just don't see how that university can do something like that. And again, guys, like I can sit here and look, I'll say this. I think Florida's the better fit for him. In all honesty, I think it works down at Florida compared to LSU. That's just my opinion. Like he was even asked on the call today, guys, have you spoken with Governor Jeff Landry? And he said, yeah, I'm not going to discuss that. Like, so he's not denying it. Like, so what I'm getting at here is I think it's so open-ended about where this thing could go, meaning which school he could pick. I just don't see – there's so much damage being done right now with Ole Miss and his relationship, and they might not want to look at it from the inside, meaning Keith Carter and the folks over there, but they're not dumb. Keith Carter knows what he's doing. I just got a feeling that there's too much that's gone on now for him to stick around in Oxford, and I could be wrong on that. Maybe the fans would welcome him back, but he darn well better sure be making the semifinals. I think Lane Kiffin's going to be gone. I do.
Yeah, and when you reported what you did yesterday on the show, and I maintain that he was not going to go anywhere, but you're letting your family members get on a plane to go to Baton Rouge. Part of me, though, is this crazy, Trey, but part of me thinks that Lane, in the back of his mind, hey, go ahead, fire me. I'll come out looking like the good guy, and then I'll have to take one of these 2 jobs that I probably am eyeing and want to take. Make it easier for me.
You're not wrong, brother, because I think he loves the attention. And by the way, I'm going to just say this. It doesn't get out that Layla, the mother of his children, and his son Knox and another family member were in these 2 cities if Lane Kiffin doesn't want to get out, period. Yes. Or Jimmy Sexton.
100%.
I mean, they parked that LSU jet 50 feet from the fence. Like, what do you think was going to happen? So, a lot of games are being played right now, and I don't understand the reason. First off, Layla Kiffin could tell you more about Gainesville than probably the person that was giving her a tour of Gainesville. She's from the area.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to go down there and search and look for – she can tell you where the yoga shop is, the coffee shop, the restaurants, the bookstores. So what I'm getting at is a lot of this is for show, and I just don't know what you expect Ole Miss to do here because they're showing you enough love, So this is getting to be a little bit too much, and I think him being called out to the table, has been a fascinating thing to watch unfold because we also had Steve Sarkisian address his future today on the SEC teleconference. And I'm quoting real quick before we have to go. He says, the people reporting or insinuating that there's a possibility I could leave the University of Texas, and that's absolutely false and untrue. I'm not going anywhere. It's like, guys, you can't make this stuff up. Like, this is just, it's hit a different level, man. That's all there is to put.
It's wild. Okay, while we still have a few minutes, other coaching jobs that we've talked to you about in prior weeks, any late buzz that you can share with us and our listeners concerning Auburn and other vacancies?
I think Auburn needs to be looking very, very closely at what happens with Ole Miss, and that would factor in with John Summerall. I think John Summerall will be a fantastic fit at Auburn. And to be honest with you, I'd probably take the Auburn job if Ole Miss were to open just because of his ties to the state, because I think he would do a great job there. I'm not so sure about Ole Miss. I think you're going to have to keep paying attention to what's going on in Missouri with Eli Drinkwitz. I know he wanted to come out and give a filibuster yesterday about potential other jobs, but he didn't really say he wasn't leaving Missouri. So, I mean, these guys know how to get around some of these answers, and I give them a lot of credit for the word salads that they put out. But at the same time, there's still an opening at Penn State, opening at Auburn, Florida, LSU still open. Could there be another opening? There's a possibility. So I'm just, Arkansas hasn't hired a coach yet. Does Arkansas try to land Kane Womack, the Alabama DC? And I'm going to throw one out here at you, just to throw it out here. But if Jed Fish were to be Florida's second pick, does Ryan Grubb go back to Washington to be the head coach and Kalen DeBoer loses his DC and his OC in the same offseason? I'm just saying,
funny.
guys, we ain't done yet.
Yeah, we kind of discussed a similar scenario off the air with kind of playing this domino game and connecting the dots and what if. Woo.
Yeah. I'm just that was I was talking to some folks today, and the Kane Womack thing was brought up to me, and then I was like, okay, and I started poking around a little bit. I know Jed Fish wanted to come out and say, I hate these lists and all this stuff that came out. He said that like 2 weeks ago. I hate being on these lists. Well, buddy, you put yourself on these lists when you were at Arizona and you dipped out 2 weeks later. Now, I understand the circumstances around that, but I'm told Jed Fish is pretty high on the list for some Florida folks down there. And I'm just saying, if that were the case and Lane says no to Florida, and then they got to go back to the board and figure out their second candidate, Washington opens up. I think that'd be a perfect spot to Ryan Grubb to go get his head coaching job.
Trey, I hate to do this on the air. Is there any way that I can get you to hold for just a couple minutes? Because I want to come back and talk about the college football playoff rankings. Is that okay? Is that cool with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Trey Wallace, for a few more minutes, I want to get his thoughts on last night's CFP. All that straight ahead on Three Man Front. It is 12:48. Welcome back to Three Man Front. Trey Wallace joins us for a couple more minutes. Trey, thank you for holding over. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Hunter Yurachek. I know that he's one of many that's in that room with the College Football Playoff Rankings Committee, but just your overall thoughts what we saw last night, because all of a sudden a bunch of Alabama people are getting nervous about what they saw last night.
I thought he did a very horrible job, and I'm not trying to be rude to Hunter Yurachek, but he was all over the place and trying to explain things. And what I learned last night is, man, Penn State might be a bad team, but you go on the road to Happy Valley and you win that game, we're going to give you some credit because it was a really hostile environment. Like, wait, what? I could say that about half the teams in college football right now and probably 21 of the top 25 teams in the CFP poll. Like, you wanted to call out Alabama for having to score 2 late touchdowns against South Carolina to win the game, but you're not categorizing Texas A&M had to score 28 straight points to beat South Carolina this past weekend. Like, I could go for days on this. Like,
and that's at home too. That's at home too,
right.
Trey.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense to me. So it's like, okay, well, I bet Doak Campbell was tough to play at to open the season. So we're going to give Alabama the same credit for going on the road. And I know they lost, but they still fought back in the second half to make it interesting. Like, it just he was talking out of both sides of his mouth. I was about to say something else last night. And it honestly, guys, we went into the season talking about strength of schedule and these metrics that are going to go into it. But, man, we're talking about losses more than we're talking about wins. Like, we're sitting here going over Notre Dame and Miami, and Yurachek sitting there saying, well, you know what, they're not really in the same pool yet, so we haven't really had to discuss them. And it's like, wait a minute. They lost. Like Miami won the game. Like, what are we doing here? How is this the case that you're not talking about those two teams? And then, like even the Alabama situation and where they were ranked and trying to scale the losses that they had and how they lost. And then he wants to call out the run game. Okay, well, guys, there are certain problems with different teams around the country. So are we going to sit here and talk about Indiana not being able to establish a run game but being able to rely on Fernando Mendoza? Are we going to sit here and talk about Georgia really not being consistent for half the season on offense but still finding ways to win? Like, I can nitpick every team in the top 25, but so that's where it doesn't make sense. I think they are lost on what they are trying to compare different teams to, and at the end of the day, I could sit here and have a BCS computer do the same thing for me last night as that committee did in person over the last 3 days.
Well, and something else last night, what he said about Miami and just telling Miami, hey, don't worry about it. You keep winning games, and essentially you're going to be okay. You don't want to back yourself into a corner because what if there is a scenario where Miami gets left out?
Well, right. I mean, what's the scenario here, too? And I'm going to throw another one at you. What if Tennessee goes on the road and beats Florida next weekend, and Tennessee's maybe, let's just say, 16th or 15th in the country, okay? And then Vanderbilt goes into Knoxville and wins that game at the end of the regular season, but then we're having a conversation that Vanderbilt's left out of the playoff because they don't know what to do about the Notre Dame-Miami head-to-head matchup. Like,
yeah.
You got to be kidding me. Like, what are we doing here? And then you're going to keep Utah ranked in front of Vanderbilt and some of these other schools? Like, what has Utah done to be ranked in front of this? Like, so I'm not buying it. I think a lot of it is just talk from these guys, and I think Hunter Yurachek had a bad night. Hopefully next week he comes back with some better answers, and it probably would have helped if Mac Rhodes would have stopped breaking contract laws over at Baylor and didn't have to step aside. So it is what it is, right?
Well, one thing's for sure, Hunter Yurachek has shown what a great athletics director he is by hiring Chad Morris and Sam Pittman and allowing Bobby Petrino to run that program further into the ground, being 0-4. So he is consistently bad.
We don't give Yurachek credit for Dave Van Horn, right?
No, and I'm not giving credit for Calipari. That would be the Tyson family. Got Calipari.
Yeah. Yeah, chicken nuggets got Calipari to Arkansas,
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah, that was not Hunter Yurachek. He didn't do a song and dance to get Calipari there. I promise you that. Listen, Trey, you're always kind with your time. Thank you for the update on the SEC teleconference.
Yeah.
That is extremely fascinating, and that story is going to get even worse before it gets better. Always appreciate it, Trey. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me. Good luck with the rest of the turkey drive today, and I really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's Trey Wallace, just outstanding college football reporter for Outkick. Joins us every Wednesday. My goodness gracious.
Would it surprise you at all with all of this hubbub, and then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, there's a football game and Mississippi State upsets Ole Miss?
Wouldn't be shocking in the least, based on the way things have happened and Lane Kiffin taking his eyes off the prize.
So this thing is getting even more bizarre. I thought that we would get a little bit of normalcy, right?
Well, see, here's the thing, and we know
Where
how this works.
everybody kind of diffuse it, and okay, nothing to see here.
I'm not taking a shot at local media like in Oxford, okay, the people that show up to these weekly pressers. But they're not going to press the issue like these national writers are going to, especially when you have a national forum like the SEC Coaches Teleconference. No. So hats off to Wilson Alexander from the Baton Rouge Advocate who was asking those questions. That's a legitimate question. You know, if you did not want that to get out about your family being in Gainesville and in Baton Rouge, don't you think Jimmy Sexton and company would have been able to put a kibosh on that?
Yes.
But instead, they love this. Lane Kiffin loves the drama. And now he's going to have to answer the tune. I promise you, man, we've seen it before in the SEC. Just go ahead and go to either LSU or Florida and then see how those Ole Miss people are going to treat you. It's not going to matter that you won double-digit games or had the best 5 years in the history of Ole Miss football.
No, pack up the entire family.
Yeah, just leave. Be gone. All right, one more hour to go. And in the final hour of the program, Conrad has got a food challenge. He's got a gravy bath he's got to take. All that straight ahead on Three Man Front. This is Jocks